The spokesperson and Central Committee member Dr Alex Mashilo says the SACP's decision to contest the 2026 local government elections alone does not mean it's leaving the alliance. The SACP is part of the Tripartite Alliance with the ANC and COSATU. Now, since South Africa's first democratic election in 1994, the SACP has participated in elections through the ANC-led alliance and has contested elections at a very small scale. Mashilo says further details will be announced at the party's 5th Special National Conference next week.
We do not have a resolution to break away from the alliance. We also do not have a resolution to go it alone. Remember that the SACP is a working-class political organization guided by Marxist-Leninist principles. And because of that, unlike liberal political organizations, the SACP cannot go it alone. Every step that we take, we will try at all times to ensure that it is with and for the working class and the poor. That is the approach we have been advancing thus far, and we will be deepening that particular approach. Yes, indeed. We have been contesting elections within the framework of the ANC-led alliance from 2007. Assessing the weaknesses of the alliance, we adopted a resolution that if the alliance is to be more impactful, it has to be reconfigured. I'm sure you know, since that time, we have been talking the reconfiguration of the alliance up to 2017 when we held our 14th Special National Congress. In the absence of progress in 2014, we then took a decision to contest elections more effectively, either within the framework of a reconfigured alliance or building a popular left front, which could be our electoral modality. That was in 2017 at our 14th Special National Congress. Following that Congress, there were engagements within the alliance on the reconfiguration. And in 2019, the alliance adopted a common paper on the reconfiguration. In December of that year, at our 4th Special National Congress, we endorsed that paper and concluded that if the spirit of the reconfiguration was undermined in any part of the country, our districts reserved the right to apply to provinces, which would then hand over reports to the Central Committee to approve contestations in those districts. But as you know, in 2021, elections were contested under COVID conditions. There were adjustments to the electoral timetables. Many of our districts said that they didn't have time. As a result, we didn't receive a single application from any district to contest the 2021 local government elections.
Right, let's expand the conversation. Thabo Shole-Mashao, independent political commentator, joins us to discuss this. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. We know the SACP has essentially expressed dissatisfaction with the ANC's decision to work with the DA and the EFF and the Freedom Front Plus, in the government of national unity. How should we interpret such a move? We know the Communist Party is saying that they have no intentions to leave the alliance. What does that leave the rest of us in terms of getting a bigger idea of what the plan is?
Good evening to you, and good evening to your viewers. I think we have had this story before in form of one Jacob Zuma, who wanted to be in the ANC, yet be outside at the same time and form his own political party. Yeah. This time it's a little bit different, with some bit of nuance, because it's a member of the alliance saying, I want to stay married, but I want to date other people outside this marriage. It is somehow contradictory, if not paradoxical, but it simply means that it creates more confusion as to how indecisive a party can ever be. And the party that we are speaking about in this instance is the SACP. And I think the ANC has got some serious questions to ask itself, and it has not covered itself in much glory of late. But the SACP needs also to reflect and ask, how much influence does it have in society? Despite the fact the ANC may be dwindling. Can it withstand the wrath of other top 5 political parties that are currently contesting, even those that are far smaller, that have begun in more latter days than the SACP did in 1921, when it was CPSA at the time, and later on to become the SACP. The SACP over-exaggerates its influence in society.
Yeah.
It's got the right to do that. But a true reflection would indicate that without the ANC, they may be weaker than they think.
It's a big deal for the SACP to go alone in such a big election, like a local government election. Some have said that they remain unconvinced that the SACP will actually follow through with what some have dubbed as a mere threat. What are your thoughts around that?
I think the ballot is going to prove a bit more difficult to the SACP. Platitudes, rhetoric, very easy to throw out, especially ahead of the elections. The previous elections that we've had in South Africa on May the 29th, and Paul would tell you that it forced a number of political parties to eat humble pie, including some of the big names that we knew in South African politics. Now the SACP has been taking along under the shade of the ANC for such a long time, and I think it can go it alone. The South African electoral politics are extremely brutal, if not cruel, and they're going to find out the very hard way. There's work to be done. SACP, to a large extent, has been seeming like an NPO on the peripheral politics of the ANC, coming out to disagree with the ANC every now and then. But to convince an ordinary individual about your Communist Manifesto may prove a little bit more difficult. Of course, they've got the right to do that and test their waters. But I think also on our side, we must see it for what it is. Also, I mean, the entrance of former President Jacob Zuma's entrance into the political landscape again, re-entry of Zuma 2.0 as MK Party, would have stolen what the SACP may have fished from as far as the pond is concerned. So I think in this instance, it just may be a dog barking, but with no teeth.
Yeah. In 2017, the SACP took some steps in contesting the by-elections in Metsimaholo municipality. It was the first direct competition against its alliance partner, the ANC. And despite not having established a presence in that municipality, the SACP at the time managed to win 3 council seats, while the ANC's representation fell to 16. With that in mind, I know you're very adamant that there's not a chance that the SACP can actually gain some sort of ground here. But is there no space for in the SACP assuming a more direct role in local governance to pursue the party's socialist program?
Paul, you got cut off there. I hope I'm not interrupting you because I didn't get the tail end of your question, but the gist of it.
Yeah, I'm just asking if you think there is a chance of the SACP assuming a more direct role.
I think there is a chance, and I'm not dismissing them completely. Elections, I mean, have really surprised many of us, especially the past elections. But also we must have a dichotomous approach to national, provincial government elections and to those of local government.
Yes.
Local government, both you and I stand a chance if we're to stand, because we are convincing a smaller community, and it is not as much as far as expenses and resources are concerned, and I'm not dismissing them completely out of it, but I'm just saying that there's a looming large shadow of the ANC above the SACP. They could surprise us, but I'm just saying that right now the identity of the SACP is strongly married to the brand ANC, which has taken a serious knock in the past few years if not decades. As a result, it may even incur the wrath of the electorate as it goes alone, because it's closely associated with the ANC, and they're intricately linked. And the umbilical cord between the ANC and the SACP is very palpable and vivid, and for everyone to see. But I'm also saying that they have not necessarily done enough as far as programs are concerned to convince potential electorates to choose them over the ANC. So I'm saying the odds are stacked up against them more than before. They could surprise us. MK Party, over 4 million votes. None of us saw it. No matter what we say. Even the commentators, analysts, they did not see that coming. Everyone had dismissed former President Jacob Zuma as an old rag in the dustbin, and he surprised us. And I'm open to that surprise, but currently as things stand, the SACP is definitely a dwarf to the brand ANC. And going against that, yes, they may win 1 or 2, but there are also various mountains to climb.
How much, very quickly, Thabo, how much do you think the ANC needs the SACP, considering that we now have a GNU?
To a large extent, the SACP has been the CSI project of the ANC. So very quickly, I don't think the ANC needs the SACP very much. It's just for nostalgia, historicity, and mainly for nostalgic past, that they may want to maintain those relations that started in the 50s and after that. But generally, I think that they don't need them as much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for weighing in on the discussion. We're going to have to leave it there for now. Thabo Shole-Mashao, independent political commentator.